Hello, everybody. Happy May. It's a fun month for me. So I decided to make May, starting May 1st, which is a significant date in my life. It's the day I was born, so it's pretty significant. May 1st to May 31st, which is also a significant date. If you've read my book, you know why. And I decided to make these 31 days of May my time to go inward and really tie up and be very intentional about my being, my knowing, my doing. And for those of you who have been with me for a long time, might remember that my website used to be beingknowingdoing.com. The center was the Center for Being, Knowing, Doing. My online academy is the Academy for Being, Knowing, Doing. And it's been a while that I've explained what that phrase is and why I use it so much. And so basically, way back when, I came up with being, knowing, doing as the 3 words to succinctly, I got that word right, succinctly explain the states that your loved ones, our loved ones who have passed are in. Their pure being, they're in their essence, their true self. They're all knowing and they are doing. They are intentional with their consciousness. And so my whole thing is not so much, my whole thing meaning my life's work and interest has always been about if when we die, we're fine and we're okay and we're restored to pure beingness, what is it that we need to do in our physical lives and our physical selves to adopt more of that while we're here? Because it doesn't make sense to me, all of this living stuff. It never makes sense to me. Like, why are we so stressed? Why are we stressing out? Why do I stress about small stuff? And I know better, but I don't always behave better. So being, knowing, doing are the 3 states of consciousness that I always refer to within myself. And in May, I'm making it very intentional of my being, my knowing, my doing. Being is, being intentional and aware of what I'm putting into my body. Not being perfect, because I do have a tendency to want to be perfect at it, and then I completely go the other end. So I'll eat no sugar, and then I will just consume 4 weeks of sugar in an hour. You guys know. So my beingness is more about going inward, slowing down, being very intentional, focusing on a few small projects, being present with whatever it is that I'm involved in that moment. That naturally leads to our knowing. When we are in our pure state of being and allowing ourselves to be, the knowingness, the intuition, that starts coming forward. And then that leads to action. It leads to our doing. So when we follow this flow of being and knowing and doing, life is so much smoother. It's truly a flow. So I made May very intentional for me to return to my awareness of beingness, in order to accentuate and get deeper in touch with my knowingness, and then I'll know what action steps to take. I've been sitting on a decision, a very big decision, for a long time, and I feel I must get to the space where I'm knowing. So I'm sharing all of this with you because I know you want to know what the hell I'm talking about, and 2, you're in that state too, where there's a decision, or I don't know which way to turn, or I don't know what's next for me. And how do we get you to be in this space to allow yourself to know what is the next thing for you to do? What action step is next? So this month, I'm very intentional about this inward personally for myself. I've also created I've created very specific workshops to do with you throughout the month of May, and throughout June as well. I'm starting Mediumship Mondays back in May. Monday, May 2nd, right now, the second you're listening to this, I'm starting to kick off that class as a free class to see if you're interested in what the topic is and what it is we'll be doing. But it's about mediumship in how do you do it, but it's broader than I've ever taught it before because I really want people to understand consciousness better. I want people to understand how our brains work. And once we understand and get a better sense of that, then mediumship isn't so wild. It's just more it's more natural. It becomes just normal and natural for everyone, not just a medium. So my Mediumship Mondays in May will be all about more of like the sciencey part of mediumship and how to apply the science. Or it's really how to use your brain and how to connect and how to feel this connection once we understand what consciousness is. And once we understand that, I believe that people will be much more open and able to make connections to other people's loved ones, to your own loved ones, and so on. So that's every Monday in May, except for Memorial Day at the end of the month. There'll be a Zoom workshop in May, and it starts with a free one so you can test it out. But I'm only allowed a certain amount of Zoom seats. So if you want to be a part of it, register today so that you can at least get a seat in the class. Otherwise, I don't know, we'll close the class out according to our Zoom capacity. The other thing is at the end of May, May 25th, I am leading a specific guided meditation specifically designed for you to meet your loved ones who have passed. So that's also held on Zoom. I believe that's a Wednesday night. I should have double checked that, but the links will be down below if you want to look into that. It's here. And then in June, kind of dovetailing off of that, I'm starting a grief group. I was guided and called. It was like, it's time to create a community around grief. And that obviously is about grieving loved ones who have passed, but grief is a huge topic. Grief is grieving the loss of a friendship, grieving the loss of your prior life, grieving the loss of a sense of self, grieving the loss of a job, an identity, a marriage, you name it. So it's under the umbrella of grief, which we all instantly think of death causing grief, but there's many deaths throughout our lives that also cause grief. So this is for anyone who feels that they're kind of stuck in their grief about whatever it is. And that begins in June. I have in-person galleries coming up. I am working on an in-person gallery workshop retreat day in the capital region of New York, and there's lots of like exciting new projects coming. So I've spent enough time with you. Thank you if you've watched this video the whole way through. I appreciate you. I'm amazed because I don't know if I would have made it through. I hope I see you in one of the workshops this May, and please make sure that your being, your knowing, and your doing are in sync with each other. Give yourself some time for all of the 3 states of being. So I hope to see you soon. Happy May.